I am really sort of regretting doing a plans vlog. Hello lovely people and welcome to the Almita Made channel. My name is Alma and I'm here to chat about all things making. Mainly sewing today because I've just finished something new and I'm so excited to show you. Now, the question on everyone's lips, of course, will be, was my new make on my autumn making plans? And the answer is not really. I cannot stick to a plan. I am really sort of regretting doing a plans vlog. I'll link to it if you want to see it. And I did make one thing from that list, two things from that list, but I have veered in other directions, let's say, although not fully. So the thing that I'm going to show you today is a pair of Falconer pants, which is a pattern by Helen's Closet. I was planning to make those in a black denim. I got the fabric ready and I know that I'm going to use those black Falconer pants a lot once I do make them. But in the moment, I just felt so uninspired to sew something in black denim because first of all, I do not enjoy sewing with plains. I just don't. And that's a fact. And second of all, black thread on black denim in the dark days that are settling in the UK at the moment, I just could not face it. I'm sorry. It's just a lot. And I thought, this is my first time making this pattern. It is possible that I will have to unpick things. Do I want to unpick black thread on black denim of an evening when it's dark and sad and cold? I just don't. I know myself and I don't want to do that. And I'm not saying I will never make those trousers, but it won't happen right now or straight away, because then I started looking through my stash on Stash Hub, which is my favorite app, and I have a link below that you can use to get a free plus month, I want to say. The details will be below and on the screen somewhere. It's a great app. I basically use it all the time to get inspired by my own fabrics that I already own and my own patterns that I already own, so that I can come up with things that I can start straight away, basically. And I was scrolling through it thinking, oh, what could I make the Falconer pants out of? And I found this fabric, which I had forgotten everything about it. In fact, I've forgotten what it is. Let me check on the app. Floral cotton canvas, apparently. Purchased April 2024. I have had it for quite a while. Oh, I had completely forgotten that this is where it came from. It came from Ely Cycle Centre, which makes no sense to anyone apart from people who have been to Ely. There is this everything shop and I love it. And Ely is where some of Pat's family, my husband's family, lives. So we do go every now and then. It's in Cambridgeshire. It's a beautiful city if you're ever in the area. It has an amazing cathedral. It's a lovely, lovely city. And there is this shop in like the city centre that sells everything from model making materials, so Pat loves going there, to fabrics and I think even yarn, fabric supplies, but also needles, zips, anything, as well as toys. So you have to walk through the toys section to get to the fabric section, and fabric and haberdashery, and that always makes me smile because I'm walking through lots of dolls. I'm like, I'm not here for this, I swear. Just buying some fabric. And I'd forgotten that that's where this fabric came from. I think I bought it with the plan to make some partner overalls, which I have made twice in different fabrics. I'm not sure why I didn't end up doing that pattern in this fabric. I possibly had forgotten about it because, yeah, I had no memory of having bought this fabric, but I had 3 meters of it. And it's sort of a canvas. I think they called it a canvas in the shop. It feels like quite a light canvas. Let me grab a piece of the fabric that I've got left to show you. Here we go. So it's just easier than showing it on the garment. It is, I would say that's quite a light canvas. If you see the drape, I don't know. But it is a beautiful floral on a black background. So very good for the colder season. I don't often sew with florals, But every now and then one design really captures me and I absolutely love this. And I'm kind of glad that I didn't make partner overalls with it, because now I have made Falconer pants with it. So before I show you the trousers, and I haven't worn them because there's no point me wearing a pair of trousers for these vlogs because you can't see them, but I will put, of course, we'll put plenty of pictures and videos as well, probably up so you can see them when the time comes. But before I get to that, let me tell you what I'm wearing, which is a Sew Over It roll neck. I love this pattern. This is an add-on to the Ultimate t-shirt. I work at Sew Over It, so I'm biased, but these patterns are great. So the Ultimate t-shirt I spoke about last week, I think. I've made it tons of times, and then we decided to create an add-on so that that t-shirt can be turned into a roll neck. So you still get the choice of short, long, or 3/4 sleeves, but with a roll neck, which I love. And this is a bamboo jersey from Dalston Mill Fabrics, I think. I love it. It's so soft and warm. And on top of it, I have a Stockholm slipover, which is a knitting pattern by Petite Knit. Every time I wear it, I say this, I don't love it. I don't love how it fits. I don't love how the wool is aging, but I love how it looks styled on top of other things. So this is a new combination and I absolutely adore it. So this is sort of ochre and this is lilac, and together I just think they look really, really good. So that's what I'm wearing today. But what I want to show you is a brand new pair of trousers. Da, 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 da. Look at them, so good. And I can already tell that I'm going to like wearing them with this on top. So the great thing about this floral is that it has every color in it, every color that I love. There's lilacs, there's pinks, there's yellows, there's greens. And I do have jumpers in those kinds of colors. So I'm excited to wear these in many, many different outfit combinations. You'd think that such bright, colorful trousers might be tricky to style, but not for me. I can't wait to wear them. So let me tell you a little bit about the pattern and any adjustments I made. So the pattern is the Falconer pants by Helen's Closet. I've seen so many good versions around the internet that they had been on my list for a while. I finally bought them. There's two versions. One's wide leg, which I don't love for me. I love how it looks on other people. I just cannot see myself in a wide leg. It's something about the proportions doesn't work for my taste on me. But the barrel leg, I do love wearing and sewing. So I went for the barrel leg. They have some very cool pockets. Let me show them to you now before I get into the rest, because that's something that I loved about this pattern that I think makes it quite different from other patterns. So there are panels in here, and I might put line drawing up because you can't see anything on this fabric, but there are panels. So you get a back leg, a side leg, and a front leg, basically. And in that side leg, you have pockets. So they're sort of patch pockets, but they're caught in these two seams. And they look really cool. And I really enjoyed constructing them. So the pockets were a big pull for me, and the barrel leg. And I have sewn a few Helen's Closet sewing patterns, but not really trousers. I've sewn the Winslow culottes many moons ago, but those aren't really fitted around your areas. So I went into this thinking, okay, it's the first pair of trousers by Helen's Closet, by this on this block and this pattern designer that I'm making. So I'm probably going to have to do a lot of adjustments. That's how I went in. Turns out I barely had to adjust anything. So usually with a lot of trousers sewing patterns, I have my own trouser block, which I've drafted to my measurements, and I use that to alter trouser patterns that I'm sewing. I usually have to alter the curve. The crotch curve is the biggest difference for me. I usually have to alter that quite a lot, and I have a difference between my waist and my hips that is quite significant, so I often have to adjust that as well. But I got the Falconer pants pattern out, and I got my block out, and I overlapped it, which is how I usually do it, and there was barely any difference in the crotch curve. So I thought, you know what, I'm just not going to alter it because that looks close enough. And then what I decided to do was to grade from the waist to the hips in 2 different sizes. So I went for a size 8 waist to a 10 hip. And grading is really easy to do. And it's something that when I started doing it in my sewing journey, when I realized what grading could do, it opened up so much, because many people are different sizes at different points, especially with different blocks of different sewing companies. So grading is definitely your friend. So all I did was grade from an 8 to a 10 from the waist to the hip on all the leg pieces. The waistband I cut as an 8 because I was happy with looking at the finished measurements and things like that. I was happy with that exact size 8 for the waist. All the zip pieces, so zip shields and all of those things, I decided to cut a size 10. Not sure why, but I didn't encounter any problems in my grading, so it worked out okay. And I got a 7-inch size zip because I couldn't find the recommended 6.5-inch zip. So I got a size 7 and it was just longer, which is recommended if you can't find the exact size. Now, in the pattern, it says to not worry about shortening the zip before you sew your trousers, which is what I've done previously. So for jeans, for example, I've often had to shorten the zip, but I shorten it before I start sewing. This pattern told you to not worry about it. And then I assumed that at some point in the instructions, they would tell me what to do, how to deal with the excess zip at the top. They didn't. They just said, cut it, trim it. And obviously I'm using maybe you're not meant to use a proper trouser, like a jeans zip. Maybe you're not expected to do that, but I did. And I decided that I would just cut the top of it and then be very careful to sew in between teeth when it came to the seam allowance of the waistband. I probably would shorten the zip in advance of sewing in the future with this pattern. Maybe I just picked the wrong zip, but anyway, I wouldn't just recommend to just cut and sew over the teeth of a metal zip. That's my only little bit about the pattern. But I did when I was making this. So I have now become a Thready Set Go ambassador, which I'm very excited about. Thready Set Go is a very exciting new platform run by Hayley from Sew Hayley Jane. And basically, there are many aspects to Thready Set Go, but one that is very exciting is the pattern club. So every month there's a pattern that Hayley focuses on, and there's a pattern party at the end. If you're a pattern club member, you get some extra tips and tricks from tutorials filmed by Hayley. And then you get a discount for the pattern, I think, maybe for a fabric shop as well, things like that. It's very, very cool. And you can get 10% off your first month with code ALMA10. I'll link to all of that below if you're interested. But you can also just join, and you should just register for Thready Set Go, create an account for free, and go hang out in the forum, because that's really fun. It's basically chatting with lots of like-minded sewists, and it's I've really been enjoying it. And there's people sharing their makes, and it's sort of a response to the fact that Instagram has, which is where I usually used to do that, just look at other people's makes and things. Instagram has become quite tricky. Basically, for me, it's not showing me what I want to see. I'm seeing a lot of stuff that it's suggesting to me, and all I want to see is the people I already follow and love to follow along in their making journey, but I'm not seeing them because of the algorithm. So on Thready Set Go, on the forum, there are lots of conversations you can follow. There's a thing called pattern diaries or making diaries that's quite new, where people are documenting the process, which is really, really nice to see. I'm just really enjoying it. But anyway, Pattern Club, one of the patterns for Pattern Club a few months ago was the Falconer pants, which is kind of where I got the idea of making myself a pair. And I decided to have a look at the tutorials, because the great thing is that if you become a member, you can look back at everything that's happened before, which I think is really, really good. So I went back and looked at the Falconer pants extra help, and I found the zip insertion, because there's a zip fly in the pattern. I found one of the tutorials especially useful from Hayley, because she had some extra tips that I had not tried before, and I found it extremely helpful for sewing up these trousers. So worth a look. And the next pattern is very exciting. They're doing the Nick's dress, I want to say, from Closet Core Patterns, and Heather Lou is going to be a guest at the pattern club party at the end, so go and check all of that out, because it's very, very exciting. Anyway, I put in my zip and it was all fine until I just had to chop through metal teeth later on, but apart from that, I'm happy with it. So because I was making a first trouser pattern from a sewing pattern company I hadn't used before, I was sort of treating this as a wearable toile, although I was really, really hoping that it would turn out well because I love the fabric. But I was really proceeding with caution. And even in these instructions, it's recommended that you baste some sections so that you can try on the trousers before committing to the top stitching and securing every seam. So I knew I wanted to do that. And it is boring, I won't lie, because all you want to do is finish your thing and put it on. But what if you finish everything and then it doesn't fit? That would be so frustrating. So I had a chat with myself and I said, come on, Alma, just take your time and do the basting. And the reason it's boring is because you're sewing everything and then you're unpicking everything and going back on yourself. But it's so worth it. And I basted, basically, I've got the order written down. I've got my notebook here, by the way, which is this beautiful embroidered notebook cover that my mum gave me. I love it so much. So excuse me as I read. So to try on as I went, I did things in a different order, Past Alma says. I overlocked all the side edges of the leg pieces, which is not what the pattern tells you. The reason I did this is because this canvas frayed quite easily. And I thought, if I'm sewing and unpicking and trying things on, I'm a little bit worried that it's going to start fraying quite dramatically. So that's why I decided to overlock every single side edge of every single leg piece, which there are 6 of, because there's front, side and back on each side. So I overlocked every edge. Then I assembled and by this point I had assembled the zip fly, so the center front was sewn already. At this point I assembled the front and side pieces together with no top stitching. Then I assembled the back, and I decided to top stitch it because I was happy with the curve. I'd found out earlier that the crotch curve looked right for me. So I decided to commit to assembling the back panel, basically. Yeah, the back, let's say, the back. The back side. I decided to sew down the center back and top stitch it. And then I basted the front, which now had the side pieces on already. I basted the side to the back. So I now had everything together. I then decided to baste the inseam, but only for a little section, just so I would have that leg shape. So I think I went down to the first notch, basted that, so I had actual legs to go into. And I tried this on and I couldn't tell anything because the waistband wasn't on. So trying it on, I was like, oh, do I need to take out quite a lot of fabric here? It wasn't sitting right. I wasn't sure where it was meant to sit. So I would 100% encourage you to also based on the outer waistband. It's so worth it, because the second I did that and held it together at the front, I was like, that's the shape, that's where they're meant to sit, and I'm completely happy with the fit. The only thing that had happened was that the top edge of my trouser leg pieces had stretched out a little bit, so I had to take out a little bit to make it fit onto the waistband. So I would, maybe next time, I would stay stitch the top edge of each leg piece, probably, to avoid it loosening, basically. And I think that happened because my fabric is quite a loose weave. That's probably why. But just to be safe, just do some stay stitching. So once I tried it on with the waistband, I saw that I had to take out a little bit due to the stretching out of the legs. But apart from that, I was so happy with how they looked. So at this point, I'm very excited. and the boring bit commences, which is unstitching all the basting stitches. With basting, I did a very long length of the stitch and very loose tension as well. So unstitching was easier than it would be with a normal stitch. So I unstitched everything and then went back and started again, assembling the front to the sides, stitching it down properly, and also doing the top stitching this time. And then the side to the back, again, stitching it down properly, top stitching, and then the inseam, stitching it down properly, no top stitching because you can't really get in there. Then I felt like I was basically done. Silly me. I don't know why I had the impression that most of the work was done, but then of course I had to do the waistband. There's an outer and inner waistband. I had to do the belt loops, which do take time. Sometimes I omit belt loops and I always regret it. I find them really fiddly to sew. I find them really boring to sew. They're really bulky. My machine often gets stuck on them. So it's not my favorite thing to do. But when I have omitted them, at some point I have wanted to wear a belt with those trousers. And I kind of get really annoyed with past Alma, who didn't take the time to add the belt loops. So I did go in and add them, and they're quite roomy. Here we go. There's 5. They're quite roomy, so hopefully I can fit a decent size belt through that. It just helps also when you fluctuate weight a little bit. Sometimes I do need to pull up my trousers with a belt. So there we go. 5 belt loops. I did put them in, and you bar tack them at the top and also at the back if you want to, at the bottom if you want to. I did not do that because by this point I was like, I'm done with belt loops. I am done with sewing thick amounts of fabric. And then of course I had to do a buttonhole on the waistband. So there we go. If you've been watching my recent vlogs, I've had some bad times sewing buttonholes, automatic buttonholes on shirts. I have had a very bad run of it. Somehow this keyhole buttonhole on quite a thick waistband of quite a thick fabric came out fine. No issues at all. I just decided to go for it, thinking maybe my luck has come back. And this is what I was talking about a few vlogs ago. I think sometimes it's just how the sewing machine wakes up. I'm sorry. Convince me I'm wrong. But some days it will be something that looks extremely tricky and the machine's like, yeah, fine, done, babes. And sometimes I'm like, oh, this surely will be fine because it's cotton lawn, it's light. No, absolutely not doing a single buttonhole on this fabric for you. Bye. It's probably my fault somehow. But anyway, the pattern says to use a 17mm button. I didn't have one on hand. I had a slightly bigger one, but look how good it looks. It's lilac. Is it showing lilac in this light? Sort of. I think it looks really good on it. You can also use a jeans button. If I make my black denim Falconer pants, then I will probably use more jeansy looking things. But I just really liked the soft lilac big button on there. I'm going to show you pictures because it's very hard to explain the fit, but I'm so happy with the fit. Honestly, I can't believe that I found a new trouser block basically from another sewing company that really works for me. I'm quite excited and I really like the Helen's Closet's designs, but I hadn't opened up to the possibility of trousers or pants if you're American. But basically the fit came out great. I thought I was going to have to work a lot on it and then I didn't, which meant that all the things that I did have to do to work it out were absolutely a breeze, because grading to me is so much easier than having to do proper adjustments, if that's allowed, if that makes sense. Because I was going in thinking it was going to take me a while, it actually felt like it came together quite quickly. So I'm delighted with them. And now I've basically tested the pattern for myself. I can get straight into, sewing and top stitching. I think I can do that. I can probably do that because the fit is fabulous on this pair. And I've done all the steps. It's like I've done a rehearsal, although what a delightful rehearsal. Like, this is way more than a wearable 12. This is fabulous. I love them. And I do think, as I said, I know that a plain black pair would be more useful. But actually, when it's colder, I wear a lot of jumpers, and my jumpers are mostly single color, whereas my springtime and summery tops are all a million colors. In the colder months, I do have more solid tops, like lots of jersey tops like this, case in point, and jumpers that are just one color. I have a green jumper. I have 2 purple and lilac slipovers. And I'm trying to think of anything else. Well, I have a black and white striped jumper. That will go. This is going to be a much more useful pair of trousers than you might think. Believe me, we'll see how I style it. But yeah, absolutely delighted. What a win for the week. And the only other thing I can show you is, I'm just going to give it a quick nod. It's a knitted finished object, which is Roy's Christmas jumper. I won't go into the process too much because I talked about it in another vlog, which I'll link to, which was my episode 2 Game of Wool chat. It was not an easy make, basically. It was an easy make, but then to make it fit to my beautiful long dachshund, it was a little bit tricky. It wasn't the sort of quick, satisfying make that I was hoping it would be, but I do love it. And it sparkles, can you see? So fun. But yeah, 2 finished things to show you. And then I haven't made much progress on any other knitting things. Have I? No, I haven't. So it's not worth showing you. But I'm delighted with these trousers, and even more delighted that when I was cutting them out, I did have quite a decent amount left of fabric. So I had 3 meters to begin with. I had quite a decent amount of fabric left, and an idea occurred to me that maybe I could squeeze out something else out of this fabric. And I've cut it out already. I don't know when I'll get round to making it, but just so you know, there's something coming in the nearish future that will match these. And that was also not on my autumn plans list. I am truly failing at this, but it just goes to show, you get distracted by your own creativity. Is that a thing? I like it. I go where the fabrics tell me, where whatever I'm seeing and being inspired by is taking me. It's very hard to keep my creativity in check, I guess. I'm a very structured person. I love making lists. I love making plans in life in general. I kind of need that because I'm quite an anxious person. So I do need the planning. But when it comes to making, I think that's the one aspect of my life where I just go like, oh, isn't that nice? Let me like just spontaneously cast that on, or spontaneously cut this pattern out. And so here we are. This is why we're getting some fairly different autumn makes than what I set out to do. But it's all fun and it's all making, and I'm happy that you're here to follow along with my projects. So yes, if you enjoyed this video, please do give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to my channel if you haven't already. I am seeing the subscriber number go up very excitingly. I feel like we're getting close to 2,000, which feels massive for me. And I'm so thankful to everyone who has subscribed already. If you haven't yet, do consider it. And also consider buying me a coffee if you're able to. The link is below, as are links to everything else I've mentioned. And yes, I will see you again next week with something new, maybe, if I finish the matching thing. I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to start it straight away. I do want to do some knitting again, so maybe that's what I'll be focusing on for the next few days. But yes, whatever I have, I will show you. And until I see you again, keep making and keep chatting about making. Bye. Let me tell you a bit of details about the pattern and the